This is truly a fun week. I got to pick through every option on this camera that got my attention, and now I get to share those results. I did not receive this S5 Mark IIX from Panasonic, but I am borrowing it from a friend, so Panasonic has no say in the short review. My biases are pretty obvious on this channel because I love Panasonic, but I also love a lot of other cameras too. So I will do my best to share what I think about this camera. Let's start off by sharing some of the hilarious misunderstandings about what others have said this week about the X. Number 1. SSD drives will be more expensive than SD cards for recording. This is absolutely wrong in every way and is due to an incorrect thinking that just because you can record in B-RAW, ProRes, or All-I, that you're just going to film everything in the maximum video settings every time. No one does that. Or at least they shouldn't. It's why the camera has so many great video options. So many, in fact, that they added a sorting feature so you're not flipping through all 10 pages of video codecs. Number 2. It's easier to record to an SD card than an SSD because SSDs are more of a hassle. True, but you can still record to an SD card as well as an SSD on this camera. So this isn't a point against the camera. Number 3, setting up an SSD on a camera with a cable is difficult. There are so many cheap and useful SSD holders and clamps that have been well known to the Blackmagic community forever. Number 4, the file size of ProRes is too big. That sounds like a ProRes issue, not an S5 Mark IIX issue. For those that want ProRes, they can now get it, and that's just one advantage of this camera. If the shoes are too big for you, then don't. Number 5. This camera's main features are only useful if you had thousands of dollars of equipment. Maybe, but it is not additional money if you already own the equipment, is it? Then this camera just enables features you can now take advantage of. Look, I understand where they're coming from with this point, but if you don't need the features, then buy the S5 Mark II. That is why they have 2 separate cameras. I think the huge misunderstanding in all of the naysayers is that they're trying to lump features into a category that just doesn't fit, because they don't know the difference between the features of the cameras and their actual uses. Okay, so who is this camera for? The X is for those people who want the ability to record in All-I, ProRes, or Blackmagic RAW. But who are these monsters? They're people like me who want the best picture for the best money, which is why these features are well worth spending $200 more to acquire. I film with Blackmagic cameras, so I want B-RAW out of this amazing 6K sensor. It has other great hybrid features I'm not going to list, but all the features together make it a truly amazing Renaissance camera. Many others have brought up the point that you are future-proofing yourself if you pick it up and don't use the features today. I definitely agree, but it's only if it fits in your budget. Okay, let's walk through some of the features of this camera in comparison to the S5. I'm not going to compare it to the S5 Mark II or do a full comparison of all the features to the S5, but just do some of the fun highlights I really love and some that are just plain cool. Then I'll finish with just a few negatives. Let's start with the obvious list. The autofocus is amazing, you get full-size HDMI, and unlimited recording times are great. Can't even hear the fan. Both card slots are now UHS-II, and the viewfinder's pixel count grew from 2.36 to 3.68. It films internally 6K 420, 5.8K, ProRes 422, and 4K 422 All-I. They are heavy lifters for video without the need for an external recorder. And lastly, the full gate mode. Crazy list of live stream options and RAW options similar to the S5, which include B-RAW and ProRes RAW. Now for the unobvious list. 3-point focus pull. This is amazing when you're set up on a tripod and want to quickly and perfectly focus between subjects just by tapping the screen. Filter video options. There's a new filter to help you quickly get to the video mode you want since there are so many now. Video priority display. This is a great looking quick reference display option, especially if you're running the video on an external monitor. You can quickly change most everything shown with just a few presses of a button. Color test screen. The weirdest but kind of cool option added is the color test screen to help you calibrate your monitors for film day. At least that's what it seems to be useful for. It even gives you 3 separate standard color grids. And the tone. Synchro Scan. An amazing option that allows you to change your shutter angle 1 degree at a time in order to avoid flicker or other lighting issues. I definitely wish this was on the S5. Software update, please. System frequency. Many other professional Panasonic cameras have this option, and it enables the camera to film in true 24 frames per second. Not going to go through all the reasons why, but I found a great article that explains more about this topic and placed it in the description below. Just know that most cameras are shooting in 23.976 or 23.98 frames per second, which is not the same as 24 frames per second. Panasonic cameras are great because they show you the actual frame rate that is on the left-hand column, so there's no confusion. Now some of the bad. Number 1, the design. I might be one of the few that does not prefer the blackout styling. It's probably because my eyes are in their 40s now, so I like to see white labels on the dials. Yeah, the camera looks great, but I appreciate usability a little more than aesthetics. Number 2, no tally light. It is still missing the tally light, sadly. Since the GH6 has it, I'm hopeful that Panasonic will add it to the next software revision, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. Number 3, external power. The camera doesn't seem to charge when external power is connected and the camera is turned on. The red light isn't on. But Gerald and Dunn explained that the S5 Mark II would charge at 10 watts and keep the 10 watts while running. But the light still remains off with no indicator that it is actually charging. I trust that he's correct and would expect this same option to carry over to the S5 Mark IIX, but Panasonic should provide some indicator your battery is being charged, so there is no doubt. So the main negative here is that there is no indicator of what the camera is actually doing, which is charging your battery when it's turned on. Number 4, the need for an SSD. The UHS-II bus on this camera is not fully taken advantage of, but this isn't necessarily a Panasonic issue. The camera only records up to 600 megabits per second internally to an SD card. This is 75 megabytes per second. Once you reach 800 megabits per second, they force you to use an external SSD, which kind of makes sense, but they do sell SD cards that are much faster than V90. Sony and ProGrade both make SD cards that can write up to 250 megabytes per second, which is 2 gigabits per second. That is even faster than the ProRes 5.8K 422HQ at 1.9 gigabits per second. And UHS-II bus speeds can even go up to 312 megabytes per second, or 2.5 gigabits per second. But SD manufacturers won't add another guaranteed rating like V100 or V300, sadly, at least that I've heard of. There's an internal bus already pushing the 238 megabytes per second to the SSD. I just wish they would give the option to use the SD card slot as well, since it is technically rated to meet those speeds too. Then just do something similar to what Blackmagic does and have the recording stop if you start to get dropped frames. And there are a few unique cases where the camera forces you to record to the SSD when the speeds are even below 600 megabits per second. These are in 24 Hz setting for Apple ProRes 422 at 3.3K 24p and 422 C4K 24p with a data rate of 519 megabits per second. Both of those speeds are under a V90 card speed rating, so why force us to use an SD card when both the card and bus can handle those speeds? The Lumix S5 Mark IIX is absolutely packed with professional features that make this the absolute best buy for a hybrid camera in this price range this year. It has a beautiful middle frame with built-in cooling, the best IBIS on the market, and is supported by a company that doesn't abandon their cameras easily. Panasonic tends to listen to their customers more than other camera manufacturers by providing software updates that enable new options and fix old issues. I wish this one was mine so I could replace my other 2 cameras being used right now, but it's getting close. The S5 Mark IIX, the truly Renaissance camera for 2023. On a side note, I'm curious when we're finally going to get 32-bit audio built into these cameras. If they can stuff a 32-bit recorder into a tiny lavalier receiver like the Zoom F2, then I think it can find a place in these cameras too. Was there anything you disagreed with? I definitely had some disagreements with the other vloggers this week, which is why I wanted to address many of their contrarian viewpoints. Please let me know any questions in the comments below. If you have any thoughts about the S5 Mark II in comparison, definitely feel free to share. It's another great camera for sure. Time to get back to filming.